What's going on, everybody? KingofDragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Metacom Toys Captain Karen. Today we'll be having a look at the Metacom Toys Mafex Avengers Endgame Captain Marvel. And so here we have Captain Karen pose and out of the packaging. And so here we have Captain Marvel pose and out of the packaging. Before we have a look at the figure, let's run through her accessories. Captain Marvel does come with two different head sculpts. She does come with the I want to talk to your manager face, and then she comes with I just got somebody fired face. She also does come with several sets of hands. She comes with a pair of fists. She comes with a pair of relaxed grip hands. She comes with a pair of clenching hands. She comes with a pair of splayed open hands. She comes with a pair of flat palmed hands. She comes with a pair of style pose hands. Then she comes with a pair of powering up fist effects. Then she also comes with her blasting effects, which all look really nice. Her final accessories are a bunch of attachments that look like she's powering up, so those do look really nice. Other than that, Captain Marvel here doesn't come with any other accessories, so with that out of the way, let's have a closer look at Captain Marvel. And so here we have the Mafex Captain Marvel, and I have to say, I'm not a big fan of Captain Marvel. I really don't know much about the character, and Brie Larson just made me not like the character even more. But in terms of an action figure, this actually does look really nice. Now, I'm not a fan of the Karen haircut, as you can see right here. It honestly looks like she's just waiting in line to complain to the manager that somebody did something that upset her. But it's a really good likeness to Brie Larson, although it is a little bit waxy in terms of there isn't really much shading going on in her face. Her complexion is basically one tone, and I do understand why people don't like that. I know some people prefer the more waxy, no complexion look. Some people prefer the hyper real. I'm perfectly okay with this. I don't need my action figures looking like hyper realistic people, so the head sculpt is really nice, and Mafex did a really good job of shading in her hair, so they did a really good job there. Overall, just a really nice head sculpt, and they actually did capture the look of Brie Larson not really having too much emotion, and this figure does a really good job at that. As far as her costume goes, I really did like her costume in Endgame. I really did like the reds and the blues. They looked really nice, and then the gold. Although I'm not a fan of this design right here. It's not Captain Marvel's fault. It's whoever designs the costume's fault. Every single MCU costume has this shape in it. It goes up and spreads out into like a Y, and then has all these excessive lines. I'm not a fan of that. I do like the color scheme though. I like the gold trim looks how it should be, but I don't like the blues, how they have panel lining in them. Then we have a darker blue. What's wrong with just having a flat suit? There's nothing wrong with that. And this probably epitomizes my disdain for the MCU costumes, where they just add lines for the sake of lines that really don't go anywhere and serve no purpose other than having lines. And yeah, this costume epitomizes everything wrong with MCU costumes. I mean, it's really nicely detailed, don't get me wrong, and like I said, it's not a fault of the character, it's a fault of the costume designer. Like, why do they have all these extra lines when they don't need them? I don't know. Somebody just woke up one day and they said, you know what, all costume needs a Y-shaped line pattern. Yes. As far as the colors go, really do like the colors, but I do have to stress that there might be an issue with this figure down the road. I don't see it being an immediate issue, but it is something to note. On mine, you can see the left bicep matches the torso really nicely. You can see the colors are very good. Her right bicep, did I say right? I meant left. Her right bicep is rather light. It kind of looks like a metallic pink. Is that a sign of things to come, that the red is going to fade? I know we have seen that on several other high-end collectibles. The Revoltech Harley Quinn has this issue, and the Storm Collectibles Sector has this issue. Is it going to be an issue with Captain Marvel? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to keep her in my collection and see how she ages. But yeah, I do like the reds. I like the blues. I'm just a little bit worried that that might be an issue where it starts fading, because it's a really hard issue to solve, and yeah, it is worrisome. As far as the costume goes, like I said, it's very well done. It looks just like it did in the movie, and that's one thing Mafex does well, is make these costumes look screen accurate, and the fact that these come out years after, it does help them. Really do like her gauntlets right here, but again, more lines for the sake of lines other than being lines. So yeah, that's one issue I just have with not just her costume, but every MCU costume. I really like the texturing that they put here on the red. It's very good. It's very distinct. It's very different from the blue, and that just looks very good. Her sash right here is a separate piece, which is perfectly acceptable. I do like the way it hangs down, and it's not like a lot of sashes where it kind of like hangs to one side. This one actually hangs like perfectly even. It's even on both sides, so I do like that. She has some more armor right there where the armor has more lines. The belt piece right here looks good. The sash goes around and then comes down. Then we have some more lines for the sake of lines here on her suit right here. I mean, look at the seam line right there. It's understandable, but yeah, we have all these extra lines just appearing for no reason. I think it would have been a lot better if there was some solid rather than just all lines. Like I said, it's a very good detail, and Mafex has done a phenomenal job with it. It's just something I'm not a fan of when it comes to MCU costumes. But yeah, the golds are done very nicely. The blues are this really nice metallic sheen. Everything on this character looks good, especially her boots, where they do have the black boots instead of dark blue, so that's really good. They even textured her boots underneath, and it just looks like she's wearing a pair of Skechers Fit Work boots, so it's a really good little detail. Other than that, there's really not much more to talk about Captain Marvel here. They did an exceptional job with the character, and considering what they had to work with, absolutely perfectly nailed it. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Captain Marvel compared to other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have Captain Marvel posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Captain Marvel posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. And finally, here we do have Captain Marvel posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a look at Captain Marvel's articulation. Now, she does have a double ball joint here in the head, which does work really nicely. I do like that. She doesn't really look up all too well because of how her head is sculpted, but she does look down really well. She gets some really good head tilt on that ball joint, and we have some left and right rotation. Most of the articulation is going to be done at the ball joint at the base of her neck, so you can see that does let her look up even better and looks down even better, and it improves head tilt. She does have a ball joint going into the butterfly joint, and that butterfly joint I think is on a ball joint on the interior of her, because it moves around really nicely. Forward and back looks really good. Drops down, pops up, goes out to the side, and not all the way horizontal, so it could be better than what it is. Goes all the way around perfectly fine. We have a bicep swivel, which works fine. Surprisingly, we have double bend here at the elbow. It's not a single bend that replicates it, and it looks very clean, so really good job there. She does have a ball hinge here at the wrist, although you can see not much movement going forward or up and down, and it's going to be the same going forward and back. Just because of how recessed that ball joint is, you don't get much play out of it, unfortunately. She does have a ball joint here in the upper torso, which moves around very nicely. You guys can see it goes forward, back, side to side, and rotates. She has a second ball joint here at the waist, and combining those two, she leans back pretty far, leaning forward, goes about that far. Could be better, but it's still respectable. She does swivel at the waist, as well as has more lean, so really good range at the waist. The only point that could be better is the forward mobility. She does have a hinged ball joint here at the hip, so it does drop down, kicks forward to about right there, goes back to about right there, and this is probably one of the most disappointing things about this figure. That is the extent of her hip articulation. It doesn't go any further, so that is very disappointing, unfortunately. We do have a thigh swivel up high, which does work perfectly fine. Double bend here in the knee, looks good. Then she does rotate here at the ankle, has a hinge which unfortunately goes back, goes forward a little bit, forward-facing pin for rocker ankle, and then we have a toe hinge. So overall, Captain Marvel here has some pretty good articulation. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get her posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll have a final look at Captain Karen. We'll have a final look at Captain Marvel. And so finally, here we have Captain Karen ready to talk to your manager. And so here we have the Mafex Captain Marvel pose for my final thoughts, and overall, for a character I really don't like and a character I really wasn't looking forward to, I'm actually quite enjoying the way Captain Marvel looks here. I'm really liking the effect pieces that you can attach to her. They look really nice, and the fact that there are no pegs, they just slip on her, that's even better. And I do like the fact that even though it wasn't shown, she does get 3 pairs of fists. The effect pieces that have the fists with them, they're actually molded in now. They were originally supposed to be separate pieces, but Mafex actually changed it so that the blast effect and the charging effect are all separate parts now. So she gets 3 different pairs of fists with the blasting effects, the charging effects, and just her normal fists. So I think that's really cool. I really do like the look of this costume. It's really good, although it still has the same troublesome tropes that I don't like about the MCU costumes. They all kind of look the same, even though they really shouldn't in hindsight. But yeah, this figure actually does work in your collection, and if you're a fan of Captain Marvel and really liked her role in Endgame, this is going to be the perfect figure for you. I think it's miles better than whatever Hasbro has put out, and I do like the color scheme, although I will say that we do not know how this figure's paint will hold up over time. There is that issue that the red may fade just with time, and it doesn't have to be out in sunlight. It doesn't have to be on display. It can fade even in the box. So yeah, that is something to keep an eye on, and the only thing that makes me think that is the way the right bicep is. Other than that, still liking the overall color scheme of this figure. If you are looking for Captain Marvel, I did get mine from HobbyLink Japan, where she did run me $70, which is pretty good, seeing as how if you buy from a domestic store, you are paying $104 for a Mafex figure. Is this figure worth $104? No, not by any stretch of the imagination, but $70 I think is really acceptable, and with shipping came out to about $15, so yeah, I think $85 is perfectly acceptable for Captain Marvel, and you get a lot of accessories. I'm not gonna lie, this figure sold me with the accessories. If you are looking for Captain Marvel, she is going to be available on HobbyLink Japan very soon at the time of making this video, or you can order her from Big Bad Toy Store, where she will be available later on. And I really do like the way this figure came out. It's one figure that actually surprised me that's being better than what I originally thought it was. So yeah, definitely check this figure out if you're a fan of Endgame. With that being said, guys, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other Mafex and Avengers Endgame videos. Hopefully you guys find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified anytime I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.